Welcome to this exciting money manifesting, mindset shifting bonus that is designed for you to listen to while you're in motion. You can be exercising, you can be walking. I would prefer you're not multitasking. The only multitasking would be you can be in motion and listening at the same time. So I'd prefer you to not be doing laundry or cooking or cleaning or something like that. I want you to really be able to zone in and focus on your breathing, the environment around you, your body, and what I'm speaking into you today. Because it's not just coming from me. I'm channeling also what's coming in from a higher source that you need to hear today. And we're covering the number one thought, the scarcity thought that hundreds and hundreds of you voted on, comes up in your head most often around being able to generate great money and abundance in a way that brings you great joy. You know, doing it in a business, starting a business, growing your business, scaling your business into the millions. Over and over and over and over again, you said you feel like you don't have what it takes to build what you want, to attract the abundance that you want, to achieve that level of financial wealth, that financial freedom, that generational wealth, the kind of wealth where you have the options to do what you want and when you want without killing yourself working. Do it in a way that you're using abundant action. You're using abundant thoughts. Things feel simple to you. That doesn't mean every day is easy, but they feel simple. You have far more joy than you do stress. And you have that thought in your head of, I don't feel like I have what it takes. You know, I'm not tech savvy. I'm not that disciplined. I don't really have a high desire to work all the time. I don't look a certain way. I'm not this age or that age. I'm not as far along as so-and-so. I'm not certified in this area and that area. There's people who are more well-known than me in this space. So why wouldn't they just hire them? That was one of mine, right? Why would someone hire me as a top business coach, as a money mindset expert, when they could go hire Tony Robbins, you know, someone who's been established for decades? Well, first of all, if you wanted to hire Tony Robbins privately, I think it starts at $1 million. So there's that. There's that. And not everyone resonates with him. I'm just using him as an example. It could be in your field as a wellpreneur. It could be in your field as maybe you have a product line. Maybe you're in network marketing. Why would someone join your team over someone else? It's because they resonate with you. They're attracted to you. The universe has guided them to you because you're the person who's meant to help them. You're the person who's meant to hold space. You're the person that they're meant to buy from. You're the person that they're meant to learn from. You're the person's energy they're supposed to be around to get them to the next level. You're the person who's best equipped to hold space. Most all of the service providers, healers, and coaches, mentors, and guides that I've hired, that I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in by now, most all of them are unknown people with not many followers. I could care less. I could care less how many followers someone has, if they've been on TV, if they have best-selling books. That's all gravy and that's all great. What I care about is I trust that if I'm seeing that person's content, if I came across their podcast, if I saw them on social media, if someone referred me to them, if a friend said, check this person out, maybe someone sent you this series and that's how you ended up here with me. This is how the universe gives us hints. This is how the universe is trying to steer and guide us and say, hey, this is part of the path. Even the stuff that seems like setbacks. This is part of the path, right? This is the path to get to the abundance that you're saying that you want to call in. You might think it sounds counterintuitive. I often get the message, especially lately, to rest. You need to rest. You need to do less, Tiffany. Rest, do less, sleep more. And every other cell in my body is like, well, how am I going to help more people? How am I going to call in more abundance? How am I going to grow Project Me with Tiffany Carter to a new level if I'm resting and I'm sleeping and I'm doing less? It's counterintuitive to these deep-seated beliefs that I've had my entire life. And I have a choice to make. I can choose to trust that. I can choose to trust it and surrender it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, or I can continue to resist it and see how that's going. And believe me, I've been doing both. And the resistance creates insanity. The resistance is what keeps us stuck. I want you to visualize, let's say you have, a Jeep and it's raining and you parked on the side of the road for whatever reason to take pictures. And now that wheel of that Jeep is stuck in the mud. And if you put on the gas and try to force yourself and push yourself out of that mud, what happens? It ends up creating a deeper hole and you sink further in that mud. And then you try more. Well, this has got to work. I'm going to turn the wheel, yank the wheel this way. And I'm going to then have someone pushing from behind while I'm putting on the gas. And then it just splatters mud everywhere. And you end up further and further sunk into that hole and create more problems. And now you're having to call a tow truck versus easing out of that space. Easing out could be you calling a tow truck and having someone pull you out. That's a much easier way. Easing out could have been you having someone just help push that Jeep before you put on the gas. Or maybe put it on slightly and slowly and kind of rock your way out of that space. So we tend to force and push and do more, and I need to think more and ruminate more and obsess more and wonder more and try more and meditate more and manifest more. And that energy ends up putting you in such a state where nothing happens versus you allowing. You have exactly what it takes just as you are right now to get to that next level. You're so focused on 25 levels ahead of you. How am I ever going to get where Tiffany's at? How am I ever going to have millions in the bank? How am I ever going to get to a point where I can quit my job? How am I even going to get to a point where I can pay off all of my debt and move to the beach I want to move to? How am I going to get to that point? You're so focused, so far ahead of you that you're missing and you're ignoring the exact steps to get there that are right in front of you, because you're just so focused on such a big picture. What is that? There's that analogy of how do you eat an elephant, which is a really weird one. It's a saying, but it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Not that we would ever want to eat an elephant, but I like that visualization, right? You could never eat an elephant. What are you going to do? Swallow an elephant whole? What about, let's say you have a steak. How are you going to eat a steak? You're not going to swallow it whole. It's one bite at a time. You're trying to take in the whole thing, which then gets you overwhelmed, which then spins you out, which then makes you even more stuck. And then you end up in the same place. Trust that you are being guided at all times. But in order for you to be able to notice the signs and notice the guidance, because you're getting them, the universe and God didn't forget about you. They're there, but you're so focused on getting out and being busy and being in your head and not being still and not being in a relaxed space and not being in an allowing space that you're not seeing it. You're so focused on this belief of I don't have what it takes that you're looking at all these people who are 5 years out, 3 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out. It would seem like an impossible task. Sitting there trying to figure out how can I swallow a steak whole. This is a setup for impossibility. There's no way to do it. You would actually likely choke and kill yourself doing it. So you're trying to do the impossible, and that's why it feels like you don't have what it takes. You have what it takes to go to the next step. What is that next indicated step towards getting what you want? And you're like, well, Tiffany, I don't know. And it's okay to not know, but it's not okay to stay in that I don't know state, because that's a victim state. That's a helplessness state. That state's not going to get you anywhere. So if you don't know, maybe your next step is in hiring someone who can help show you the way, who's done it. Getting the tow truck, buying a set of knives so you can cut up steak, and not sitting there and going, God, how did this person get there? And I want to get to where they want to go. Well, then you've got to be willing to do what these other people have done. You have to be willing to do what I've done. And that doesn't mean I've sacrificed my entire life and I'm miserable. I mean, some days I am, because we all are, because we're having a human experience here. I did it just the same as Tony Robbins did it, just the same as Oprah did it, just the same as Beyonce did it, just the same as Warren Buffett did it. One action at a time, one client at a time, $1 at a time, one experience at a time, one thought at a time. You have what it takes to get to the next step. You're just choosing not to do it. You're scared. What if it doesn't work? Because if you stay in the belief of, I don't feel like I have what it takes, well, then why would you take the next abundant action? Because if you have a belief in there that, well, I don't know if I really have what it takes. I kind of think I do, but I'm not sure. Well, then why would you apply to work with me, right? Why would you do that? Why would you sign up for my Project Me Posse group coaching membership? Why would you take action? Why would you continue to do these abundance walks that I have helped thousands of people? They've collectively, millions of dollars have been made from people doing these walks and shifting into that abundance zone. There's pure evidence of it. In my life, in my clients' lives, and other people's lives, I share the evidence all the time inside of my emails. I share the evidence all the time inside my Instagram, inside my podcast. The evidence is all there. It's because you're believing, well, that person is something different than me. That person has that je ne sais quoi. That person is more of an extrovert. That person has a bigger work ethic. That person has a trust fund. That person has something, right? That person has something. That's not true. This person might even have less than you, meaning less knowledge, less energy, less discipline, less wherewithal, less resources. You have no idea because you're making up stuff in your head. In fact, I notice some of the most successful people, because I'm surrounded by a lot of them, they actually had the least going for them, which is part of why I feel they're so successful, because they had the least going for them. They had the least going for them, but what they had is they had the belief that they were going to show up for themselves. They were going to show up for their dreams. They were going to show up for their family. They were going to show up for the greater good. They were going to do the thing and take the risk, because I don't want to be in this current spot. I don't want to have my bank account look like this forever. I don't want to feel trapped and confined because I have a lack of options, because I'm limited financially. I'm limited time-wise. I'm limited energetically. I don't want to be in this spot, so I'm willing to do what it takes. So if you feel like you don't have what it takes, it's because you've not been willing to take the scary, risky, uncomfortable, awkward, sometimes terrifying action to do what it takes. It's easier to sit there and believe you don't have what it takes and really, really stack a bunch of evidence to convince yourself you don't, because then you don't have to take the scary, risky action of what it does take, because I know you know what it takes. because you know if you're not sure, then you need to hire someone to help you. If it's in the area of making money online, doing what you love, you would apply to work for me. If you need to have help in shifting this money mindset and you know it's your own brain and you're the one who's keeping yourself stuck and you can't figure out how to get out of it, well, then you would take an action and join my posse membership. You would take an action and listen to my podcast. You would be taking actions towards it. You'd be taking big actions towards it. If it's something in your body you don't like how you're feeling in your body, or your nervous system is a mess, then you would be hiring healers. You would be hiring a wellness coach. You would be eating differently. If your relationship sucks, or you would be hiring a relationship coach, and you'd be spending money doing that. And it feels scary to do that. It only feels scary because you're believing you don't have what it takes. And if you believe you don't have what it takes, then it's like, well, then it might not work, or it probably won't work, or there's a high chance it won't work. And then I'll have wasted this money, and then I'll be in a worse spot than I am now. Well, then you might as well just let go of this dream then. You might as well just let go of this vision and this manifestation of what you want, because you just put yourself in purgatory. You just put yourself in a no-win scenario. And that might feel comfortable to you, because a no-win scenario is going to keep you stuck exactly where you're at, which is familiar to you. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you're unhappy, even if you're uninspired, even if you hate it, even if you dread Monday, it's still familiar to you. So in some way it feels safe to you. And it's far more scarier to go after something different, to expand, to go where you know you're meant to go. But you know what's even worse is burning all of this energy and time and money that you're wasting. Because you're wasting money because you could be generating thousands, even millions of dollars while helping people, while paying it forward, while circulating that abundance through society, through charities. Your actions alone of going for it and taking big action would be a beautiful example for your children to see, your future children, your significant other, friends, strangers. And you're not doing it because you're all stuck in yourself and self-absorbed that you don't have what it takes. I'm not criticizing you. I was there too. It took me 10 years to start Project Me with Tiffany Carter because of all these thoughts. Who am I to do this? What am I thinking? I'm not some model. What I'm going to be showing pictures and videos of myself. Who wants to learn from me? There's people who are wealthier than me. There are people who are smarter than me. There are people who are more eloquent and well-spoken than me, who don't burp when they're recording something like I just did. But there is no other me. You have to trust that if you have that dream, that vision on your heart, you have that passion, it's been placed there for a reason. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it. There's people who are completely satisfied and happy being a cashier, making people coffees, being a stay-at-home mom. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's this one lady I always think of in LAX, the Los Angeles International Airport, and it's in the American Airlines wing. So my fellow heavy travelers will know this. And you might even know this woman. I need to make sure I should have her on the show. I'm always fascinated by her. And when I go to travel, I'm like, maybe she'll have already left here. Maybe she would have left her job. And she's always there. And I'm talking many, many years now, at least a decade. And she's in the first place on the left in the American terminal, domestic terminal. And I have, my Virgo ass, of course, has a routine when I go to the airport. I have to get my magazines. I have to get a giant water. And I have to get an egg, cheese, and croissant sandwich because I'm obsessed. And so that's where I get the sandwiches from this place. And sometimes I get a coffee. And she works the register. And this place is wild since it's the first one you see. I mean, sometimes it's like 20 people deep. And, not everyone's friendly. People are stressed about travel. You got the corporate peeps. You've got mom dealing with a screaming kid. Delighted to be there, and it's genuine. And without a doubt, it's not fake. It's totally genuine. And she'll say things like, you are going to have an incredible flight and one of your best trips yet. And she doesn't say the same thing to everyone, but she does a version of that. And I go, thank you. And she goes, I want you to believe that, and you're going to have a blessed day. And has a big smile on her face. Now, some of you more cynical people could go, well, she just wants to get some tips. Guess what? There's no tip jar out there. I don't know if it's not allowed at the airport. There's no tip jar. And she's been like this every time. And I've gone through there hundreds of times, if not in the last 10 years, 1,000 times. She is so happy doing that. She genuinely is that happy doing that. And that's okay. You have a different dream on your heart. You have a different vision for your life. You have different things that you desire, different things you want to acquire, different things you want to experience, a different energy exchange. This was bestowed upon you. You were chosen. This doesn't make you better or less than somebody else. That woman was chosen to be at that register. Think of how many lives that woman impacts by being there. That's her job here. I'm sure she does a lot of other work, outside of her actual work day. But think of, she's probably impacted millions of people by now, because by her enhancing my mood, how do you think I end up showing up on a plane, even just energetically, if I don't say anything? I end up wanting to pay that forward to the flight attendants, to the person next to me. And then maybe that person who was kind of grouchy, it made their day better. And then they made someone else's day better. Think about that. So she was chosen to do that. You're chosen to do something else. If you're not happy doing what you do now, or you're not happy with the amount of money you're making doing it, but you like what you do, that's because you're meant for more. That's because you're meant to do something different or to do it in a different way, but you're resisting it because you don't believe it's possible for you, because you don't believe you have what it takes. But meanwhile, God in the universe is telling you, I know you are because I chose you. And you're basically saying, F you, no, I'm not. That's not going to end well for you. But when you're chosen, you're going to have to take scary actions. That's the catch. The catch is it's scary. It can feel lonely. You can be filled with uncertainty. You've got to do things that maybe other people might seem that are crazy or unconventional. Thank God some of our best innovators and leaders in this world have gone before us and done unconventional things. We now have fully electric cars. I don't think it would be strange even 10 years from now that we have flying personal vehicles. That is not far off. But when I was a kid, I never thought we'd have electric cars. That's wild. Just think about that. I never thought I could get anything in my life, anything I pretty much wanted delivered to my door in a matter of a day or two. There's Amazon. Just think about all of that. Think about we can download a brand new book in 10 seconds and have it at our fingertips electronically. None of this stuff would be possible if those people said, I don't feel like I have what it takes. And they had people telling them they're crazy. Their idea isn't possible. It's going to cost too much money. It's unconventional. You're going to disrupt the system. This is not going to work. And here's all the reasons it's not going to work. So those people, those leaders, those innovators had to go, no, I had this idea for a reason. We're going to run with it. And yeah, there's a risk it might not work. But how about we look at it up? I'm going to show up until it does. That's the common theme when you speak to multimillionaires and billionaires. We show up until it works. Because we believe it's possible. We believe it's possible for us. We believe it's possible for the greater good. And we believe we have what it takes to at least experiment and go to the next step. Do I believe I have what it takes to have one of the top podcasts in the entire world? I do believe I have what it takes. Is there a part of me that goes, I don't know if that's possible for me because it's, I don't have as many downloads as this person and downloads as that person. And I have a really unique tone of voice and I sometimes really hate my voice. So maybe other people hate it. And I don't have any famous friends. And it's not like I'm some, celebrity or I have a gazillion followers somewhere where I can, get people to listen to the show. Well, guess what? In less than 4 years, my show is in the top 15% of all podcasts in the world. Am I in the top, 25 podcasts if we do a ranking? No, not yet. But I'm certainly making advancements and steps to get there. So I might not know for sure it's possible for me to be like Joe Rogan level, for example. I might not, but do I think it's possible for my show to continue to grow and expand and serve and entertain and help more and more people while making millions and millions and millions of dollars? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's one bite at a time. And that compound effect, both inside of a bank account, in business, in abundance, in giving, in receiving, this is what makes manifestations come to life. This is what makes our dreams come true. I started out in an apartment with roaches. Well, there were two. One was really large. I just shared about that roach. I named him. I started out there. Then I had a place that was like $700 a month. Then we grow further from there. And then I had an apartment that had stainless steel appliances. That was a big fucking deal. In a very, nice area in a nice city. And then at 25 years old, I bought my first luxury townhouse, all brand new. No one's ever lived in it. Very, very cool. Very cool place. Then I lived in that, I think I lived in that 11 years. And then I got the big girl house, as I call it, where I still have, as of this time of this recording, that has the beautiful pool and all of that. And then over time, tens of thousands of dollars was invested to have the incredible, Hawaii-like backyard. And then recently, the $350,000 to $400,000 crazy luxury remodel happened on that house, which there is no more gorgeous kitchen on the planet. There's just not. I would say the only more gorgeous kitchen would be that kitchen with like a full crazy ocean view or stunning mountain view. And then that house would be worth like something crazy, like $50 million or something. And now I have two places. I have an ocean view beach house in one of the most luxurious beach communities in the entire world and that house. So no, did I have it all at once? Would I have been able, with the Tiffany living with the roach, with the Tiffany living in that apartment, or even in that luxury townhouse, would that Tiffany think I would be a two-house person? A beach house and a suburban house person? No, I wouldn't. I would have been like, oh my God, that's extreme. Like, that would be crazy. Like, I don't know. There's no way. But I did believe that I could have the next step. I did believe I could keep going to a nicer place, to a place I like even more, a more abundant place, a larger place, a place in a nicer area, a place that had more amenities. Do you see what I'm saying? You not believing it's possible in you is you denying what the universe has said to you. And I want you to declare today, I'm going to choose to believe that the next step is possible for me, and I'm going to take that aligned, abundant action to get there no matter how scary it is. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a business loan. I'm going to use a credit card. I'm going to be vulnerable and hire a therapist or hire a coach. I'm going to apply to work with Tiffany. I'm going to join her posse. And you can join the posse right now for listeners. I've opened up new membership spots just for you at projectmewithtiffany.com/projectmeposse. So you can get in there. And there's a special bonus for you in there. It's only $3.33 a day. So this could be a step of action in the right direction. Take that step. You're taking a step right now by listening to this. Now take the next step, and then take the next step. Take the next bite, and then the next bite. And at some point, if we're using that analogy of that Jeep that's stuck in the mud, at some point you're going to go, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to hire a tow truck, and they're going to come here and pull me out. I'm going to stop trying to figure this out on my own because it's not working. And you might be at that point in your journey. And then you're like, I just need to have someone show me what the hell to do. Then take action on that. It's wherever you're at in your journey. If it's possible for me, it's possible for you. If I have what it takes, so do you. You have it. Choose to believe it. Take action for it. You deserve the best and get it. Love you so much.